Hi everyone, my name is Lucia. About to enter my third year here at UTM, doing a specialist in exceptionality in human learning. And today in this video, I'll be discussing my personal take on study planning. So the first topic that I wanted to talk about was having a planner or a calendar. So for me, having a planner or calendar of some sort is necessary to keep track of all test dates and assignment deadlines. I use a physical planner, but a lot of people use online options like Google Calendar, or other things like that. At the end of the day, what's going to work best though is whatever's most practical for you. The key is to have everything compiled in that one planner. So academic deadlines, extracurricular activities, outings with friends, doctor's appointments, etc. I choose to color code to keep track of the different categories, but that's completely up to you. The reason for having this setup is to help you keep track of everything going on in your life. So what I've learned is that test dates and deadlines creep up very fast, and everything tends to happen in the same week. So you want to have a constant reminder of when everything is due so you can plan when you're going to start studying or working on your assignments. You also don't want to double book yourself, and so having everything compiled in one central location really helps to prevent this for me. The next topic I want to talk about is having a daily to-do list. So I like to write a to-do list for each day of the week on Sunday night, but you can also just go day by day. For me, having a to-do list helps keep me accountable during the day and takes away the stress of having to figure out what needs to get done on the fly. Having a to-do list, though, means nothing if you're not realistic with what you set out to do for the day. And so that's definitely something to keep in mind and something that you'll get better with as you get more experience. I know that's been the case for me. One last note I want to make about daily to-do lists is, for me, scheduling my day hour by hour did not really work that well. I really wouldn't recommend it. I found it put way too much pressure on me, and it's very inflexible, which isn't really realistic. The next topic I want to talk about is figuring out when you work best. In everyone's day, there are times when they're super productive and times when they're not. So what's been really beneficial for me has been identifying these times in my day when I'm productive and when I'm not. By identifying this, I found I can more effectively carry out what it is I set out to do in my daily to-do list. So for example, I find that I'm most productive in the afternoon between noon and when I eat dinner. So I'll use that time to do something that takes a lot of energy, like studying or working on an assignment. And then I find I'm moderately productive in the evening after I eat dinner, so I'll use that time to do something that takes a little bit less energy, which for me is reading and making textbook notes or consolidating my lecture notes. And finally, I find I'm least productive right after a lecture. So I'll use that time to take a break, which I'll touch on a bit more later. While I know that some people say they work better later at night, I also can't overstate how important it is to set up a good sleep schedule for yourself. I know from experience that getting enough sleep every night makes a huge difference in your energy levels and just overall makes you more prepared to face the challenges of the day ahead. The next topic I want to talk about is spacing out your studying, reading, and doing your assignments. As a procrastinator, there have been many situations where I've saved an assignment or studying for a test or the weekly readings right up until the last minute, and then I had to cram at the end. And that's usually because I'm so overwhelmed at the thought of having to, say, write an entire lab report or read a 40-page chapter in a textbook. What I've learned, though, is that the best way to conquer these daunting feelings for myself and get more motivation to start studying is to break down each major task, like, say, reading a 40-page chapter in a textbook, into very small, manageable chunks that are much less daunting. Like, say, for example, reading 5 pages of that textbook in one day. Then what I'll do is I'll take these small, manageable tasks and spread them out over a very long period of time. So for an assignment, I'll spread the tasks from when it's introduced to when it's due. For a test, I'll do a little bit of studying all semester, but more concentrated starting about a week before the test. And for weekly readings, I'll spread out my reading the entire week between lectures. I found this technique has been a real game changer for me, and I know I'll keep using it in the future because it has helped me significantly reduce how much I procrastinate. The final topic I want to talk about when it comes to study planning, which I find really important, is taking breaks. There are actually 3 different types of breaks that I like to take that I want to talk about. So those are breaks between studying, daily breaks, and weekly breaks. So for between studying, I like to use the Pomodoro technique. I found it to be really useful for myself. It's basically where you do 25 minutes of work followed by a short 5-minute break. And then after enough of these cycles, you get a longer break, like say 30 minutes. You can actually get the app, which is what I like to use, so you don't have to keep adjusting your timer. And I find it really helps with my procrastination, and it makes any task much less daunting. You can even shorten the work time to 15 minutes if you're feeling really unmotivated that day. When it comes to daily breaks, I like to take those whenever I am the least productive and during meals. So, like I said before, I'm a procrastinator and it's really easy for me to get carried away with a break and let it go on for way too long. So, what I like to do is make sure that what I do during this sort of break is something that's easily quantified. For example, reading one chapter of a book or watching one episode of a TV show. Also, if I can, I try not to do any work while I'm eating a meal so that I can use that time to relax and de-stress in between my studying. The final type of break is a weekly break. What I like to do is figure out what day is the most lecture heavy and take the rest of it off. This is actually something I only recently started doing, and I wish I'd done it during my first year because it's actually been really helpful. I find lectures can be very exhausting, and so on days when you have a lot of them, chances are you'll not be in the best mindset to get a lot of work done, or at least that's what it was like for me. So instead, I like to take that time to do some self-care and relax so that I feel fully energized and prepared to go into the rest of my week and give it my all. So I know that's been a lot of information, and I hope everything I talked about in this video has been helpful. But if you get nothing else out from what I discussed, I hope you walk away knowing that your first year is a time of trial and error and a time to figure out how you learn and study best. So be kind to yourself because the transition can be tough. So with that said, thank you so much for listening, and I wish you all the best in your first year here at UTM.